of years, the Australian didgeridoo has undergone very few changes in its traditional design and playing techniques. Today, we meet Dr. Bruce Copley, a master didgeridoo player, who's gone beyond the limitations of this monotone drone tube to greatly extend the sound and scope of this ancient instrument.
Pythagoras made the statement that if we could understand fully the aspects of a single vibrating string, we would understand every question and every answer on this planet. The didgeridoo is predominantly a very powerful emotional instrument. It certainly can relax you, and many people use it as a healing tool. Whereas other music might not have the power to do that, I think the didgeridoo can create very, very powerful visual images. The didgeridoo is arguably one of the most ancient musical instruments. It has a history of about 40,000 years, and it was used by the Aboriginal people in Australia and used predominantly as a spiritual tool in their ceremonies. Even today, still, the didgeridoo is played exclusively in the Aboriginal culture by the males. And in fact, the females are not even allowed to hear it, let alone play it. It's interesting that your Aboriginal teachers will teach European women to play the didgeridoo, but not teach Aboriginal women to play it. So they've softened to that approach, but within their culture, it's still very clear that a woman doesn't play it. Also interesting enough that the didgeridoo symbolizes both the male, female, the yin-yang. It's male from the outside, female from the inside. I think one of the reasons why I do what I do with the didgeridoo is that I've seen it more as a playful adventure. I place no limits on this instrument, what I can do with it, how I can use it, and I have a tremendous amount of fun in the process of exploring what is possible and what is not possible. So I would say play is what underlies what I do essentially with the didgeridoo in the broadest sense of the word. You have to use a thing known as circular breathing. Essentially what that involves is that you use your cheeks to continue the flow of air as you breathe in through your nose. Breath is a very, very important component in so many traditions, the use of breath with the yogis, for instance. So by using your breath, the life force, effectively, you get an amazing sense of awareness of being in the moment and real focus, because the breath really keeps you in the now. Well, as you can see, we have quite a selection. This is a slide timber didge, which we can move up and down, and we can get a variety of notes on it. This is a very interesting traveler didge. Sound travels down there and zigzags out. It sounds like it. And these didges here, this one, that one, and that one, and this one are all sisal, made out of our wonderful sisal plant. Very light, very resonant sound. Now this is a thing called a didgeridoo, which enables us to play little tunes. This is a metal or an aluminium one, also a slide didge, which allows the thing to be lengthened. And then this was one of my first didges, which is a pine didge. It's very, very heavy, but that certainly has a lot of sentimental value for me. And then lastly over here, this is my dual didge stand, which enables me to play two at the same time, and then have my hands free, and of course my left and right foot or ankle, upon which I have various shakers. I also love running with the didgeridoo. I have a lot of fun. I am a runner, so I get lonely every now and again, and I take my didge with me, and I have a lot of fun. I get into a wonderful rhythm, and I almost feel as if I can run without getting tired. The quality of sonoluminescence means essentially that sound at a certain frequency will become light. Well, of course, fire is the greatest discovery in the history of our species, and I decided to try something with my didgeridoo. So using the original fire technique, which is the stick friction technique, I create a small little ember which I then place in kindling, which is then placed in the bell end of the didgeridoo. And then by playing a particular note, and only a particular note, can you get this then to ignite into a flame. And then the didge isn't just sprouting sound, it is sprouting fire. And it's lovely to observe, and at night it's spectacular because you see sparks all over the place, and it's just a lovely experience. But it took me about 3 months of trying again and again Before such time as I thought, would I try a higher note, I just thought I had to blow harder on the fundamental note, and that really all that did was create a lot of smoke and a tired didgeridoo player. The mechanics of playing money didge is that there is a stream of air going down the center of the didgeridoo, but at the same time there's an eddy current coming up back on the sides of the didgeridoo, and at a certain note, once again, it's only on a certain note, that backward pressure is greater than the forward outward pressure, and that is what enables one then physically to pick up something like a 200 rand note. Most didgeridoo players that play with the didgeridoo either in the front of their mouth or on the left or the right-hand side. So clearly if you're playing it on the left-hand side, there is a space on the right-hand side. And that's what got me thinking, well, wouldn't it be possible to play both at the same time? And it's lovely because you get up to 10 simultaneous notes that are being played when you play two unmatched didgeridoos. What's very exciting about the didgeridoo, even though it's a very ancient instrument, it has become a very versatile instrument in musical ensembles today. For instance, Tracy Chapman uses the didgeridoo in a lot of her music, Andres Vollenweiler, just to name a few. It goes beautifully with instruments such as the guitar, the cello, the drums, the flute, the saxophone. So the didgeridoo has the ability to fill the space musically in a very beautiful and a graceful way. So I play with many people. We call ourselves the rat race exterminators. And I play with Chris Tokelan, who's a wonderful saxophonist and flautist, Barbara Kennedy, who's a wonderful cellist, Leon Visser, who is a wonderful guitarist and vocalist, and then Dan Levine, who is a wonderful musician, also a wonderful vocalist and a didgeridoo player as well. Well, I rate the didgeridoo as my greatest teacher, and I've had many wonderful teachers, but what I've learned from the didgeridoo are things such as patience, because you have to really be patient. You can't rush the didgeridoo. You have to be fully in the moment. It's also a very profound instrument because there is a depth to the didgeridoo that you really only understand when you play it. So for me, the biggest gift of the didgeridoo is that it has taught me to become much more aware. It has taught me to tune in at levels that I never was able to do before. So what I would say is, in a nutshell, that the didgeridoo has heightened my listening ability, but also sensitized me to the beauty of different vibrations, where I don't judge them anymore. I accept them, I play with them, and I am touched deeply by them.